What do we ask Grimshaw to do? We ask them to do the impossible. We asked them to take a nearly 90-year-old building, and we said, make it be a 21st century dining and community building. Make it bigger. Make the very old and the very new look like they were designed to be together. Do it cost effectively. Do it in a time frame that we can't veer from, and make us so astonished by the outcome that we'll know that the impossible had been achieved. That's all we ask them to do.
What we were trying to do here was to build the great central gathering space that Duke doesn't have.
The existing union, which was built as a part of the original campus in the 1920s, was really closed off, and it was a bit of a rabbit warren inside.
Probably our greatest challenge was, how do you respectfully restore the old and insert the new?
Duke is one of those campuses that essentially was built all at once. Everything fit in together, everything looked alike.
It begged for something that was almost the inverse of those very opaque fortress-like buildings, something that was very transparent and immediately legible.
When they first showed us the design, I do think there were a fair number of people who wondered, was this going too far?
But the more we looked at it, the more we liked it and decided to go ahead. It's pretty bold, but I think it needed to be to make this the landmark we wanted it to be.
Whenever Grimshaw was coming up with our material palette for the new intervention, it really tried to respect those materials that were already used on site, but use them in a new way. So by using terracotta, it referenced the Duke stone. The warm wood elements were referencing the collegiate Gothic ceilings that were already there.
Whereas the Gothic have the groin vaults and the gargoyles, and we have the sort of articulation of how two materials come together and resolve themselves. You know, the stainless steel connections gives a sense of craftsmanship to the building and a bit of permanence. And so there's a kind of resonance between historic and contemporary interpretation.
And the reality is, you know, one of the problems with these old Gothic buildings is they're dark. You had to let the light in somewhere, and that meant you had to have a big glass wall.
When you sit at any one particular place and you look up, the transparency is apparent. And you can see 3 or 4 different spaces layered on top of each other. Duke often perceived this place as a beehive of activity, and you really get that feeling.
I think before, this definitely wouldn't have been a place that I chose to come. Old West Union was very dark, and it didn't feel very welcoming at all. Our campus is beautiful, and so to be able to kind of carry that into the buildings as well, it's wonderful. There's something about feeling that connection to everything around you that really facilitates learning. The West Union is already becoming a gathering place for me and all of my friends, and it makes us feel wanted, and it makes us feel like this is a place for us to flourish.
One of the elements of the brief was about how to create a community amongst the student body and create places where students could get together in a variety of activities. They're essentially the equivalent of 13 restaurants, all of them with their own identity, all of them with their own culinary style.
Duke had a vision to change the way students saw eating. It wasn't just about hamburgers and fries. It was going to be about farm to table, local, sustainable food. This vision required flipping typical dining services on its head by exposing kitchens. Students can see what's being cooked right in front of them, It's about an honesty of food preparation.
Students gather their foods, they find their corner, they find their niche, and they linger. And nothing makes me happier than to walk around and see that people just hang out. I have yet to find a single person who isn't awed by the outcome.
Everyone who's seen it has said this is really exactly what we want.